my dear audience. The stage is set, the lights are dim, and tonight we step into the shadows of creative obsession. Do you think you know the phrase, giving life to art? Well, allow me to alter your perception forever. Listen closely, if you dare. Once, an enigmatic puppeteer known only as Matthias Gray enthralled audiences with his exquisite craft. His puppets moved like living beings, their strings invisible to the captivated eyes of his audience. His mastery was unrivaled, and his fame stretched far and wide. Yet beneath the applause and ovation lay a secret hidden within the hollowed shells of wood and paint, a pact so dark, so consuming, it was whispered about only in hushed tones among those who dared to suspect. Matthias was not merely skilled, his creations were imbued with something else. At first, they felt alive as an illusion, a marvel of ingenious craftsmanship and compelling storytelling. But rumors arose in the small village where Matthias lived. Spectators began swearing that during his performances, the puppets didn't just move, they breathed. They would lock eyes for a split second too long, and if you tuned your ears just right, they whispered. Matthias dismissed such claims with a theatrical laugh. Fingers can deceive the eyes, and talent can deceive the senses, he'd say. But, dear listeners, those whispers weren't wrong. Inside Matthias's workshop, hidden behind thick, dark curtains and layers of dust, lay the broken prototypes, half-carved faces, unfinished limbs, and shattered fragments. Yet Matthias kept this chamber locked, for only here, within this shattered sanctuary, did the truth reside. Matthias was not a mere artist. His inspiration didn't come from within, but from without, from elsewhere. You see, Matthias had summoned something ancient, something he now could not fully control. Late one night, driven by desperation to surpass the masters of old, Matthias had sought wisdom in forbidden tomes, books with pages that shivered against the torchlight. He stumbled upon an incantation, a curious rhyme meant to shape an object of devotion into something alive. But the text carried a hidden warning, half burned, half erased by time. To lend the breath of life, the cost is a fraction of... Of course, a man of Matthias's ego did not pause to consider what that price might be. And so, emboldened by hubris, curiosity, and his yearning for legacy, Matthias recited the chant under a full, foreboding moon. The first time he spoke those ancient words, he felt that thrill, so giddy, so profound, the way art comes alive under your fingers. And alive, his creations did become. Little jerking motions at first, then smoother, more fluid movements. They obeyed him. At first, for weeks Matthias reveled in his newfound magnificence. He created for creation's sake, cranking out puppets whose exquisite detail made him a legend. But fame has its price. It began subtly, with whispers from the dark workshop after the curtains fell. Matthias would lie awake in his bed above the studio, hearing the unmistakable scratch of wooden feet scraping against the floorboards, the faint creak of strings tightening where no human hand moved them. Once, in the cold still of midnight, he swore he saw a silhouette lingering at the edge of his bed, one of his puppets, staring, its carved eyes, too, focused. The breaking point came during a performance hailed as his masterpiece, The Triumph of Andorra. Rivals, critics, and nobility crowded his theater, eager to witness his genius. As the play unfolded, the audience sat entranced. The lead puppet, Andorra, a magnificent wooden figure clad in silk, gave a soliloquy that sent chills through the room. Her voice, laced with Matthias's skillful ventriloquy, seemed almost sorrowful, pleading against her master. The performance earned gasps of awe and even fear. But something went wrong. Or perhaps it was precisely as Andorra planned. Her strings, manipulated so precisely by Matthias, began to falter. A word too many, a wrong motion, a flicker, and then she turned to Matthias, slowly, a wooden head cracking as it shifted off its axis before realigning to meet his astonished gaze. Her once lilting voice turned guttural. "He who gave me life," she rasped. "I will give you death." The strings severed themselves in a violent snap. Matthias recoiled, frozen in disbelief. The audience, most thinking it part of the act, cheered wildly, but their applause soon died as the Andorra puppet leapt, not as master, but as predator, knocking down Matthias from his platform. Splinters scattered like shrapnel. Other puppets joined as strings coiled and bodies twitched autonomously, carving the air with jagged movements. The lifeless turned sentient, and the crowd found themselves amidst no theatrical scene, but a nightmare unleashed. As chaos erupted, people scrambled for the exits, only to find them locked. Was it Matthias in his paranoia, or was it Andorra's doing? No one truly knows. All that's known is when the villagers broke into the theater the next morning, there was silence, stillness, and nothing else. No Matthias, no audience, no puppets. The building has since fallen into ruin, though passers-by swear they hear faint applause within its crumbling walls. And some claim if you stand still at the right angle in the moonlight, you can spot tiny, splintered feet poised against the shattered windowsills, watching, waiting. If you ever find yourself near that cursed theater, dear listener, perhaps one of the creations Matthias gave life to still yearns for an audience to share their tale, or to become their next master. So what do you think? Was Matthias merely a man undone by his own ambition? Or is there something more sinister about creating life where it never belonged? Either way, be wary, for even the best puppeteers can sometimes lose control of their strings. Good night, and sweet dreams, and